Hey everybody, back again. Tyler Pettit here with Medicare in the Mitten. Today we're addressing what I see are the top 3 Medicare mistakes that Michigan residents make. They're completely avoidable if you know what to watch out for, but again, the top 3 mistakes that we see in our office on a daily basis, and again, hopefully this can kind of help you avoid making those mistakes. So the number 1 mistake that we see is people messing up an enrollment window that they have, right? So messing up your enrollment period. You may already know this, you may not know this. There will be other videos that will address this, what the different enrollment periods are. But you have an initial enrollment period for Medicare when you're turning 65. And that is a 7-month window. It's the 3 months before the month you turn 65, the month you turn 65, and then 3 months after that, right? That is your initial enrollment window into Medicare when you're turning 65. Chances are, if you're on a marketplace plan or on an individual plan directly through a carrier that's not a part of an employer-sponsored plan, you're going to need to sign up for Medicare during that window. So don't delay it because you think your marketplace plan or your individual plan is creditable coverage, because it doesn't qualify as such. If you're on an employer plan, if your employer has 20 or more employees, then you don't need to register during that initial enrollment period. If you have less than 20 employees, then you are going to need to sign up. Same thing goes if you're on your spouse's employer-sponsored plan. If they have 20 or more, then you should be okay in delaying your Medicare enrollment. But if your spouse's plan that you're on has less than 20 employees, you're going to want to make sure that you're getting yourself enrolled into Medicare during that initial enrollment window. Right now, other people may qualify for a special enrollment period outside of that. And again, if you're delaying it because your employer has 20 or more, you're not really going to have to worry about that. But that's what we see as people screwing up, is thinking they have creditable coverage when really they don't, and that could result in a Part B enrollment penalty or a Part D enrollment penalty. Both of those end up being lifetime penalties, and I've got a video here that I'm going to get going for you that's going to address those penalties and how they work, and then again how they ultimately end up costing you because they are lifetime penalties. But that's the number 1 we see, is people messing up their enrollment windows. The number two mistake that I see seniors make, or Medicare age individuals make, is not reviewing their annual notice of change or doing an annual review in general. Okay, it is so wildly important for people to do this, to have your annual enrollment review from October 15th to December 7th. So every year, us agents are notified of different changes that are made by the different carriers, specifically to Medicare Advantage plans, right? Specifically to Medicare Advantage plans. And for those of you that are currently on Medicare, maybe you are on a Medicare Advantage plan or you're on a prescription drug plan, you know every single year you receive that annual notice of change, ANOC, they call it ANOC for short because Medicare loves an acronym. So they have this annual notice of change that comes out, and it's going to address the different changes happening in your plan. Is there a premium associated where there wasn't? The out-of-pocket maximum increase? Is it now more of a copay to go see a specialist? Is your inpatient hospitalization going to cost you more per day for days 1 through 7, or maybe it's only days 1 through 5? And again, those changes are going to happen, and they're going to list them in that annual notice of change. But if you're just tossing in the recycler and not reviewing those things with an independent insurance agent here in the state of Michigan, then you may not know that those changes have happened to your plan. You also are going to want to double check that your doctors are still in the network for the plan that you're on. You're going to want to make sure that your pharmacy is still in network for the plan that you're on. You're also going to want to review your prescriptions and make sure that that company is covering them the same. Okay, so again, to make this clear, this is for those on Medicare Advantage or a prescription drug plan that's paired with a Medicare supplement. Okay, so those of you that are on a Medigap or a Medicare supplement, you don't have to worry about an annual notice of change for your supplement, because those don't change year over year. The only thing that changes year over year on those is the rate that you pay on a monthly basis. Okay, so again, Medicare Advantage, prescription drug plans, you will receive that annual notice of change, but it's important, it's so important year over year that you're reviewing, making sure if you're on Medicare Advantage, doctors are in network, prescriptions are still covered, right? No major changes to plan structure. For those of you that are on a Medicare supplement with prescription drug coverage, checking your prescription drug coverage to make sure your pharmacy is still in network. Make sure they're still covering your prescriptions the way that you expect them to. And then the third mistake we see in relation to what we just talked about is understanding the difference between Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement. Maybe you didn't understand that there is generally one open enrollment period for a Medicare supplement where you're not going to be subject to medical underwriting, right? Where you're only going to have the guaranteed issue into a Medicare supplement. And maybe you weren't understanding and you rushed a decision because you saw the $0 premium of a Medicare Advantage plan. You felt great about it, but you didn't understand that it operates more as a pay as you use it type plan where you're going to get hit with co-pays. You are going to have an out-of-pocket maximum. So again, not understanding that, I have a video that addresses the difference between those two things linked below. But again, that's the big thing, is understanding the difference between those two and then planning for it, right? Using that information, understanding what a Medicare supplement, a Medigap plan is versus what Medicare Advantage is, how it functions, how you're able to enroll in those two different plans, and how your enrollment changes on a year-over-year basis if you want to switch. So again, understanding that, right? Those are the big ones. The other thing that I throw in as a little additional add-on is, as you're coming to Medicare, I think it's really important that you're not only reviewing these things with a licensed insurance agent, but you're talking to your financial advisor, you're talking to your CPA, and understanding what makes the most sense for you in your future planning, right? Because sometimes it's really easy to make that decision in the here and the now, but it's also about understanding what are the future ramifications of this decision, right? So talk with an insurance agent, talk to your financial advisor about what's available to you, what you're planning on over the next 5, 10, 20 years, and your CPA, what kind of tax implications there could be. So talk to those trusted advisors of yours to help you make sure you're making the best decision. And again, that requires planning. Get out ahead of that. Again, it's something we deal with on a daily basis. We talk to individuals who are 63 and trying to prepare for Medicare. We talk to individuals who have been on Medicare for 10 years and maybe didn't have the proper things in place, didn't have the proper planning in place, but we can kind of help them address those things now and put them in the best spot on a year-over-year basis. So again, those are the top 3 that we see. Are there more? Are there others that maybe you have heard of? Comment below, let me know. We can make more videos addressing other mistakes, but these are the top 3 that I see.